What's up, everybody? This is Greg with Advantage One Brokers, and this is the ADV1 podcast. This is the podcast we come to you each and every weekday and bring you relevant topics and trainings. And we bring guest speakers on in order to train you on carrier products and carrier background. So today, I have a very special guest. I have Mr. Rick Weaver from American Amicable. Rick, how you doing, brother?
Good morning, Greg. Great to be with you today.
You're very welcome. I usually find out what's your position over at American Amicable, so I know.
I'm one of the vice presidents with the marketing group here in Waco with the American Amicable group of companies.
Okay, perfect. And just to kind of start off, most times, when we have a carrier rep on, they talk a little bit about the carrier, and then they go into maybe a specific product and dig in. And so I'm gonna turn it over to you, Rick. I'm gonna let you take over, and I know you got some slides to show everybody, but thank you for coming on.
Well, thank you, Greg, and I certainly before we start, I want to thank Chris and Spencer also at Advantage One, and certainly Kevin at Assure. I am going to talk a little bit about who the American Amicable group of companies are, Greg, and I'm also going to spend a moment on a little bit of history with us and Assure. So,
okay,
before I get into the product, so hopefully now.
There we go.
Can now share. Okay, excellent. Well, we are the American Amicable group of companies. It's actually 5 companies that have come under the umbrella over the years through mergers and acquisitions. Important to point out that all 5 companies are administered right here in Waco, Texas. The products, whether they're written on American Amicable paper or Occidental paper or one or the other, the product is identical. So I want to make that specific. There are no different products based on those companies. Every company is rated A Excellent by AM Best. We are presently and have been since 2010 wholly owned by Industrial Alliance Insurance and Financial Services out of Quebec City, Canada. Presently, IA is the 4th largest financial services in Canada, and very likely is going to move to number 3. So we are owned by a very, very viable, active, and certainly solidly financial company. They are actually rated A+ Excellent by AM Best. Who are we and what do we do? We focus really on simplified issue products, predominantly final expense and mortgage protection. That's what we are. That's who we are. 95% of all our business, and in 2020, even with the pandemic, we set an all-time production record. We did just south of 140 million of new annualized production, and 95% of that was either final expense and or mortgage protection. All our applications were 1 page, yes, no, accept, reject. We pay advance commissions daily. All of our core products, and I'll talk about this a little more, are available using eApp, and I will continuously stress the use of our eApp for a multitude of reasons. You get instant decisions. We try to make what you do as simplistic as possible. So we actually send you an email notifying you that you had an ACH deposit to your account. It tells you how much went into your account. There's even a link that if you click on it, it will tell you the basis of that deposit, what policies were involved. We send you an ACH acknowledging an application. We send you an email on, I hate to say it, but return drafts, believing the sooner an agent is made aware of a return draft, the higher the probability of conserving the business. So we try to look out for you. We try to make doing business with us attractive and as easy as possible. Before I get into the mobile tools, I want to go back a little bit and talk about American Amicable and Assure. We actually have had a relationship going back to 2006. At that time, the company was known as Insurance Wholesalers, and Brian Pope was the principal at that time. So we've been associated with initially Insurance Wholesalers, subsequently, when it was changed, renamed to Insurance Wholesale since 2006. So we have a 15-year relationship. And I think that's important to point out that we know the folks that are sure. We're certainly looking forward to getting to know more of you at Advantage One. It has been a strong, viable, ongoing relationship. And with the folks that I mentioned there, Chris and Spencer, and certainly Greg and Kevin, I'm confident that this relationship will continue to grow and nurture itself. We believe that we have some functionalities. Again, our job at our end is to make what you do as easy, as efficient as possible, and to let you focus on what you do best, and that's sell. So we believe using EAP, and all of our products, I said, are available in EAP. We have a link, and if nothing else, please make note of this link, www.insuranceapplication.com, and it will take you to the screen you're showing. There are tutorials there on the mobile applications, phone quoters. All of our products can not only be quoted on any smartphone, they can also be illustrated. So gone are the days that you have to carry a laptop with you. You can do all that right from your smartphone. Certainly on the mobile application, an iPad or tablet work the best. So again, technology, we encourage you to use it. And there are tutorials and webinars out there to help you get acclimated if you're not familiar. Again, the insuranceapplication.com. A couple of reasons that we really encourage and push our EAPs is, A, you can do sales remotely. We accept for most products, if you're with face-to-face, and some people still do face-to-face sales, the applicant can sign directly on your device using their finger or stylus. You can email for signature, and you can actually accept voice signature. And out on that www.insuranceapplication.com are the scripts. There are separate scripts for home certainty, separate scripts for dignity solution. So please follow those scripts. Again, those are for remote sales. Another two good reasons to use our EAP is it ensures when we get that application at the home office, that application is complete. By that, I mean, for example, if there might be questionnaires, for example, maybe a tobacco questionnaire or a high blood pressure, it prompts you and it brings those forms up right there for you. If it's a replacement, it brings up the state replacement form. So you don't have to go looking elsewhere for any of the required forms. They're all pre-packaged depending on the answers on that. So it expedites the issuance because we have a complete application. And by expediting the issue process, ergo, we expedite the payment process to you as an agent. This next slide, and by the way, Greg, I'm going to share this webinar. I will send you a copy of it.
Okay,
so
awesome.
You'll have it on file.
Okay.
But for those of you that focus on final expense, this slide is terribly important. About 4 years ago, we found out that the Social Security Administration were going to change dramatically the way they did their monthly distributions. They were getting away from paper checks and they were going to direct deposits for those clients and those recipients that had bank accounts. And what they were going to do, those deposits were going to be based on the applicant or the recipient's day of the month birthday. So, for example, the second Wednesday, if a recipient of Social Security birthday is the 1st through the 10th of the month, they will always get their deposit on the second Wednesday. If their birth date is the 11th through the 20th, they will always get it on the 3rd Wednesday. And if it's the 21st through the 31st, it's always on the fourth Wednesday. Why is that important? Well, that second Wednesday could be as early as the 8th of the month or as late as the 14th. And to try to guess by saying in the old days, well, we'll just put the 12th down, the deposit may not have gotten there yet, or they may have already spent that money. So what we did when we found this out, we already did all the programming. We actually tie it annually to the upcoming subsequent year's Social Security disbursement calendar, and we set our drafting schedule directly to tie to Social Security disbursement. Not only that, we actually hit their bank accounts at 1 a.m. So we don't even give them a chance to go to Walmart and spend all their money or go to the bank. And by the way, we laugh at that, but Walmart, you folks may or may not know, every Walmart staffs additional staff on Wednesday, the second, third, and fourth Wednesday because of Social Security recipient shopping immediately after they. So we did that. Now, similarly, if the recipient is receiving Social Security disability, those payments are either the first of the month or the third. That sounds simple enough, first or the third. Well, many times the first or the third fall on a weekend. Other carriers draft on Monday. Well, guess what, folks? They have already used those proceeds because the money goes into their account on a Friday night if the first or the third falls on a weekend. Ergo, since we tie directly to Social Security calendar, we actually draft their accounts as well on Friday night. Since we started doing this, it has resulted in a reduction of over 80% of return drafts on folks that are drafting from their Social Security account. So this is really, really important. It will absolutely help your persistency. You'll be happy, your client will be happy. So this is an important screen to pay attention to. Now, several years ago, we were asked if we would develop a couple of proprietary products, which we did. And Home Certainty is your guys' proprietary mortgage protection product. No one else sells it, okay? And there are some reasons for that. And there are some built into this product that are different from, I'll use the word, our stock mortgage protection product that everybody else sells. Home Certainty, okay? Right now, the mortgage market is huge. As a matter of fact, I can speak from experience. I actually got a call from my mortgage company yesterday to see if I was interested in refinancing because rates had dropped again. So the market is very, very active out there. Again, it's a one-page application. We promote 3-day turnaround on clean business. In actuality, we're issuing business in 2 business days if it's clean. So again, great market. Table 4, accept, reject. We have additional for-cost and no-cost writers, and a couple of them I'm going to take time to talk about. Many of the writers I think you folks are aware of because they're not different from any other writers or carrier. But a couple, okay, we have a 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30-year duration. Again, to try to tie to the more popular mortgage terms out there. The premiums are indeed guaranteed to remain level for whatever duration they choose. Now, this product can be kept actually to age 95 after the level term on an ART basis. Well, those of you that are familiar with ART basis know that means the rates are going to increase every year. That's the downside. The plus side to that is that individual, that insured, may have suffered some illness or accident during that level premium period that would otherwise make them uninsurable. At least this way, they are still guaranteed to be able to continue coverage if they choose that ART basis. Convertible up to age 75, actually all term plans offered by American Amicable have a conversion option in it. So that's important. And with that, I think you all know if they exercise that conversion option in the time period allowed, no evidence of insurability. It's guaranteed. We have ROP, and I'll talk about this in depth a little more, available on the 2025 and 30 year. This is a slide that will show our issue wages on the 10-year. We can actually go up to 75. On all the other durations, you'll notice one thing is consistent: the maximum issue wage plus the level term period equals age 80. And there are some reasons behind that that are actually due to NAIC regulations. So maximum face amount is 300,000. I want to address, we require a mortgage. It doesn't matter if that mortgage was initiated this morning or 20 years ago. We don't care if they owe every payment or one more payment, just as long as they're a mortgage. And as long as they're a mortgage, they are still eligible to apply for the maximum 300,000. Who is eligible for this product? Well, certainly anyone on the mortgage, anybody listed on the deed of trust. But in addition to those, even if they're not on either the mortgage or deed of trust, spouses are eligible for their own coverage. Significant others are eligible for their own coverage. Common-in-law spouses are eligible for their own coverage. And life partners are also eligible for their own coverage. So they do not specifically have to be on either the two formal documents to apply for their own coverage. We have return of premium, critical illness, and that one I'm going to talk about for a moment. Our critical illness, except in California, and California is unique, but in every other state, our critical illness is a for cost with a defined benefit. And by that, I mean, if somebody, the maximum critical illness benefits $100,000. So if they took a $200,000 home certainty and the max 100,000 critical illness, God forbid, but should they suffer one of the qualifying events, they get $100,000. There are no actuarial mathematical calculations to calculate the severity of that covered illness, the impact on life expectancy, et cetera. It is a fixed, finite amount. Unfortunately, or differently in California, it is the other scenario. If they incur a qualifying event, an actuary actually calculates the severity of that qualifying illness and recalculates a new estimated life certainty, and they come out with a benefit that could be as little as 0% or a maximum of 95%. So the significant difference there is the client, the insured, really doesn't know what benefit that's going to pay, unfortunately, until the event happens. No cost riders. I'm not going to talk about accidental death, children insurance waiver, because I think we're all pretty astute on knowing what they are. But clients like no cost, and we offer three. One is terminal illness. That means if your client is diagnosed with 12 months or less to live, they may, at their discretion, take up to 100% of their ultimate death benefit. Most carriers limit that to 50 or 75. We actually allow them to go to 100%. Those benefits would be just as the same as death had occurred or distributed federally income tax free. The next no cost benefit is confined care, and this only applies to an actual nursing home. It does not apply to home health care. If they are confined to a nursing home, they may, at their discretion, take up to a maximum of 5% or $5,000 monthly. Again, that is distributed federally income tax free. And a lot of seniors today, their two biggest worries are, who's going to take care of me if I get old, and am I going to have money? Well, they could actually use these proceeds to help offset the cost of being in a nursing home. I hope they still have long-term care. We don't offer that, of course, that's a health coverage, but if they're really, really looking after themselves, they'll have a good LTC policy as well. The other one is chronic illness. And by this chronic illness, if the insured is unable to do a minimum of 2 daily functions, and by that feed themselves, clothe themselves, bathe themselves, continence, etc., they would qualify again for a chronic illness benefit. All 3 of those, no cost. And here's a little more descriptive on that as to what they are and how they qualify. Return of premium, and I know that there are some other carriers out there that promote 100% return of premium at the end of the level period. Ours is different. We return 75% of not only premiums paid, the policy fee, and the modal factor at the end of the level premium period. However, our product, home certainty, starts to accrue guaranteed, and I'm going to repeat that, guaranteed cash value as early as the 3rd policy year. When you run your illustrations, you can actually illustrate for your client on home certainty not only the guaranteed cash value all the way through the life of that level premium, but we actually also illustrate reduced paid up. Therefore, if your client, after let's say you're 12 or 15, decide they don't want to pay any more premium, they could exercise their RPU. The other carriers that advertise 100% do not start to accrue any guaranteed values until about 2 years prior to the end of the level premium period. So yes, they're both fruit, if you will, but don't compare the apples to oranges. There are significant differences in there. Again, these are riders I'm going to scroll through very quickly. The one I might touch on quickly is disability income. For us, we're a little bit more lenient and liberal than most carriers. Most carriers, as long as you can earn some type of wage, you're not disabled. We actually determine whether or not you're able to still continue doing the trade or that you were trained for, that you've been doing or went to school for. And the example I typically use is, for other carriers, if I'm a surgeon and I have a horrific accident and were to lose both my hands or one of my hands, I can no longer do surgery. But I could still consult in an operating room. I could still teach at, let's say, Johns Hopkins. Well, for other carriers, you wouldn't be disabled because you could still do those functions. With our DI rider, you would be disabled and be able to collect the benefits. So that's one significant difference. The other one that's interesting is accidental only disability. And folks, we actually created this several years ago, specifically with you agents in mind, because you folks are self-employed and the DI rider exempts self-employed. So to come out to enable you to actually have coverage on yourself, we did an accident only disability. Children insurance, accidental death, again, I think those are pretty self-explanatory. Every one of our agent guides have 2 sections that we're quite proud of. An impairment section that lists just about every ailment and combination of ailments you can think of. It tells you by looking at it whether the life portion can be issued, declined. It even references the specific question on the application. So when you're out in the field or you're doing a remote sale and a client tells you they have us or so, you could actually very quickly reference this guide and know whether or not there's a good chance your client qualifies. The other section that's equally as important is our medication section, and we focus predominantly on what we call dual meds. I think we have learned over the years that many pharmaceutical companies developed a certain drug initially for to treat one specific illness or disease, malady. And over time, we've come to learn that that same drug could be used in a multiplicity of scenarios, many of which are very benign and mundane. So If you use this again, it will tell you what it's prescribed for, whether it's acceptable or not. And I encourage you folks on your application, not only to put the medication down, but if you're able to put the dosage down, 9 times out of 10, if we know the dosage, we know what they're taking it for. If you don't list the dosage and you just put down furosemide, we're going to pretty much assume it's for congenital heart failure, and that would wind up in a decline. So the other thing we allow you on our e-app and our apps, we actually have a section for comments. So in a scenario like this, if you said they were taking furosemide, you could actually put down X dosage, maybe 80 milligrams versus 20 or something for high blood pressure only. So it's important to put the dosage down. Yeah. Simplified issue standard, table 4, we do MIB, as all carriers do. Very few telephone interviews. We have reduced those dramatically. Nobody likes telephone interviews. And I'm going to politic one more time for the use of the mobile app. We do have an automated decision right now, but it's a soft decision. Many of the decisions, regrettably today, say refer to home office, and they are because there are additional riders or there might be an MVR check required. We are working diligently, to put it mildly, to have a hard, instant, full, hard decision for home certainty, and we're still believe and confident we'll have that out before the end of the year. So watch for bulletins on that. Our final expense, and we're one of the handful of carriers today that still have underage plans as well. So we actually have a final expense for our seniors ages 50 to 85. And we have an underage plan 0 to 49. And I will tell you folks up front, a lot of the 0 to 49 are sales, and 40 to 49, they are spousal sales where the other spouse is over 50. So that same call, that same lead can result in 2 sales, one on the senior and one on the other spouse under. So the one big difference is that on the senior, we actually have 3 death benefits. Immediate, or many people call it day 1, which is 100% coverage day 1. We have a true graded, and with that, it's for the little less healthy folks. If death occurs in year 1, they would get 30% of the ultimate death benefit. Year 2, 70%, and year 3 and after 100%. We also have for the really less healthy a return of premium that in the first 2 years or 3 years, depending on the state, they would get all premiums paid back plus 10%. Now, even with the graded and ROP, if death is due to an accidental death, they would get 100% of the ultimate face amount, up to $35,000. So we are pretty liberal with our face amounts on that. The riders, and again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I am going to talk a little bit for a minute or two on the grandchild, great-grandchild rider. When we developed this, it turned out to be one of the greatest leads you can have. And again, I use myself many times as an example. If you were to walk into my home, in the foyer, there was a coffee table. On that coffee table, I hate to say it, but there's not one photo of our 3 grown children, but there are photos of our 7 grandchildren. Most grandparents will spend a lifetime talking about their grandchildren. And let me tell you, one of the keys in the senior market is to get the confidence of your client. If they feel confident with you, if they feel comfortable, and when you get them talking about their grandchildren, the sale's done. It's an instant sale, absolutely instant sale. And let's face it, folks, people would rather talk about grandchildren than talk about death. Death is a rather morbid topic when we cut to the chase. So it is a great door opener, and I guarantee you, it's $1 a month. per grandchild or great-grandchildren. There are no limit. Right now, the policy that we have right now, there are 19 covered grandchildren, great-grandchildren. That's $1 a month for each of them. So for $19 a month, they are getting $5,000 of coverage on each of those grandchildren or great-grandchildren. They can take up to 2 units, 10,000. That'd be $38 a month. There's a guaranteed insurability option. That grandchild may, before they're age 20, guaranteed to convert that to permanent insurance up to 5 times. So they actually have the option, guaranteed, to have their own coverage of 25 or 50,000 with no evidence of insurability. It's a great, great rider, and certainly one that leads to a lot of sales. Again, no blood, it's simplified issue. We do MIB, pharmaceutical database check. We dramatically reduced the requirement for, again, interviews about 2 years ago, again, pointing out nobody, the home office agents or even the client, nobody likes telephone interviews. So on the age 50 and above, we only require an interview if the applicant is over age 70 and is not found in either of the 2 major national pharmacy databases, and that's IntelliScript and ScriptCheck. And we do get the rare occasion they're not in there. We still have seniors that order their drugs from north or south of the border. Ergo, they would not be in a national database. Or if the payer on the policy is not the applicant, a spouse or significant other, or a child. If it's someone else, if it's a brother, cousin, sister, then we would order an interview. On the younger ages 40 to 49, we still have an interview on that. So, and if you, on the rare occasion you do an interview, folks, I strongly urge you to do it at point of sale. Over 90%, that's a big number, over 90% of required interviews, if they're not done at point of sale, are never completed because the applicant never answers the phone. They don't know where the call's coming from. They don't recognize this unknown 800 number. So do it while you're with the client if you have to have one. Again, just as we have in all our agent guides, we have an impairment listing and we have a prescription reference guide. Again, all designed to simplify and to expedite and to help you with your field underwriting. Here I go again. Mobile app options, use of e-app, folks. Again, I could spend a day promoting that. It's very, very simple to use. And I liken myself to the old Geico commercial. So simple, even if Rick Weaver can do it, anybody can. So very simple to use. We still have folks that mail in their applications. We have a secure website for that. All of our products and all our supplies may be ordered from our online supply. You can download them and print them. Everything is in PDF format. So again, we try to give you everything at your fingertips that make doing business with American Amicable simple, efficient, cost-effective, and hopefully enjoyable and successful. So that's the PowerPoint that I had that, again, Greg, I'll share that with you. I want to thank everyone so much for the opportunity to have been with you today. If there are questions that get funneled to Greg or anyone else, please direct them to myself and I will answer them if I, one way or another. Hopefully I'll have the answer. I'll get it for you. And looking forward to meeting a lot of you. I think some of you that are on this will be at a conference forthcoming in a few weeks. And Greg, I know I'll be seeing you there and meeting you for the first time. So looking forward to that. And I always close with, above all else, folks, be safe out there and good success in what you do. And Greg, if you have questions for me, I'll be happy, or otherwise, thank you for this opportunity.
No, hey Rick, I appreciate you coming on board and going through everything. You were very thorough. I think the only thing I was really wondering was with the agent guide that you went over, what's the fastest and easiest way that agents can get access to it? And is there any kind of like PDF agent guide that can be emailed out to them?
Oh, they can actually go out to a marketing website and there's a tab, online supply. If then they would check what state they're most interested in. If they reside, let's say, in Texas, they would select Texas. They would select I'll choose home certainty. They can order it to be shipped to them. It's also PDF. They can download it to access it, or they can print it right there from that.
Okay. So they'll basically go to the supply tab on the marketing section,
yes,
pick the state, pick the product, and then they can get a PDF or have it shipped.
Exactly.
Okay. That's perfect. Rick, thank you so much for taking the time to come on board and speak with our agents. It means a lot to us over here at Evangeline Brokers. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next coming weeks in Vegas when we do our conference. So thank you so much for taking the time. And for those of you watching, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you hit the subscribe button, follow our channel, because we are coming to you with content each and every weekday. And if you got anything out of this, if you learned anything, if you got value out of it, then here's the fee. Share this video with somebody else that might get value out of it. That way we can help to continue to train the industry and get them to just to be better out there. So